Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a trying new makeup. I have a bunch of new products that I want to test out. So I wanted to test out this Glow Recipe Watermelon Dewdrops. I had hauled this in my last video, my Sephora haul, and I wanted to test this out, see how it affects my makeup, if it gives me a dewy glow. I also have the Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer, so I thought we would test that out. I also have a new sponge from Lunar Beauty. This is Manny MUA's brand. He had two sponges, a black and then this sort of neutral colored one. So I thought we would play around with this, as well as the new ColourPop quads. These are the new face quads or cheek palettes. So you have 3 blushes and then a highlighter. So I thought we could try these on the face as well. I also did want to continue trying out the Jaclyn Cosmetics. This is the Hydrating Under Eye Primer. I'm still trying to get a feel for it. I did a video on the Jaclyn Cosmetics, like the face collection or the prep and set collection. I can link down below, but I'm still trying to gather my thoughts. And then I also thought that I would use the loose powder on one side of my face today, again, just to gather my thoughts. And then I have a new powder from Lorac. This is the Pro Loose Setting Powder. So I figured that maybe we could put one on each side and just sort of compare. I still, again, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. The shades just run so light on the Jaclyn, so I really want to try it again. And then I also have these really beautiful liners. These are the Dual Drama liquid liners from Deck of Scarlet. They're like gorgeous duochrome. One side has just a black and then the other side has these duochrome. So I thought we would do like a really fun duochrome wing. I also recently picked up some BK Beauty brushes. I've heard so many YouTubers rave about them, and then they actually, without even contacting me, just sent me the rest, which I was super grateful for. These are synthetic brushes, so I really want to try them and see how they apply my foundation, powder, bronzer. So we'll play around with these as well. And then in terms of lips, I have the Huda Beauty lip contours, the new lip liners, as well as the new cream lipsticks. I have a couple shades, and I also have the Too Faced Lip Injection. These are like their liquid lipsticks. It's the Power Plumping Cream Liquid Lipstick, so maybe we'll play with both. I figured maybe that we would put the Too Faced on just to get an idea and then maybe top it with the Huda. So a big array of products today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and let me know what you want to see next. If you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into it. So I went ahead and zoomed you in, and we are going to start on the eyes because I want to do a wing, and if I mess up, it'll just be much easier to fix. This portion of the video is sponsored by Deck of Scarlet because we're going to be demoing and talking about their newest product, which is the Dual Drama Liquid Eyeliners. So these are dual-sided. On one side, you have a black eyeliner, and then on the other side, you have a duochrome eyeliner. And what I really love about this, and you'll see in the demo, is this is so precise. The tip on this is not flimsy where you have no control. It really gives you a precise line. So if you like to do graphic liner or you really struggle with getting a really sharp wing, this is going to be easy to work with. Again, I will demo that when we go into it. Now there are 4 shades in this line. I want to throw up some swatches for you guys. So as you can see, there's an array of colors. We have a plum flipping to olive. We have a teal flipping to cobalt blue, a violet flipping to indigo, and then we also have a bronze flipping to a green gold. Deck of Scarlet is a high quality makeup brand that believes in breaking the boredom of clean beauty. They're vegan and cruelty free and clean, as I mentioned. They have a list of 1,500 ingredients they do not use in their products. So if you're interested in clean beauty, definitely check them out. And if you go to their website, they have tons of beautiful inspo, just photos of models wearing their products, and they're just so gorgeous. So today we're going to be using the Dual Drama liquid eyeliner. I think today I'm going to go in with the shade Solar Flare in Dark Matter, just because it has sort of that gold bronzy green flip, and I feel like it'll go better with the other products that I have to use today. So I'm actually going to do quite a large wing with this, and I'm going to use the duochrome side. So as I mentioned before, this is a really nice applicator because a lot of times I've noticed that they're not pointy enough or that they're really flimsy and I have no control. This one, I mean, you can see how thin that line is. So it's not going to be one that you're like struggling or it's going to bleed or anything like that. You can get super precise lines, especially if you like graphic liner. This might be a good option. So I am going to zoom the camera in and I'm going to start creating a wing on my eyes. So I'm going to just do what I normally do in terms of doing a wing. I'm going to pull this out and then pull it in. So I'm going to do the outline first and then we will fill it in. So you can see like how easy that was. Something about the tip is very precise, which I like. So I'm pulling in here. And we're gonna start off small. I always like to start off small with wings and then we'll kind of go from there. So I'm going higher because I want this to be pretty intense. And then you can adjust. See what I mean about how it just has that perfect tip? They knocked it out of the park with this applicator because I feel like even me who's not good at like graphic liner, I could do outlining a cut crease or something like that because the tip is very easy to work with. So again, just perfecting everything. So it should look something like this. Of course, we're gonna put lashes on and finish the face, but I feel like it's just such a cool look. It's very foiled and it's not moving or bleeding, just very easy to work with. The applicator was just really beginner friendly. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye off camera and then we will start putting on lashes and kind of making the look come together. I went ahead and did the other wing off camera and threw some lashes on. I love the finished effect, and once we get our makeup done, it'll all come together. But the ease of use on this was really great. The applicator is just so easy to work with, especially if you want to get a really sharp line, or if you want to, like I said, outline maybe a half cut crease, or if you like to do graphic liner. So if you want to check out the Dual Drama liners from Deck of Scarlet, I will have a link down below. I also have a code to save money off your first purchase. So check the description box if you want to check these out, and let's go ahead and move on to the complexion. So to prep the skin, I am going to go in with the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dew Drops. I picked these up from Sephora, and this is a serum, but I've heard a lot of people say that it's great for a dewy primer. It also has a little bit of a tack to it, so it really kind of like sticks your makeup on. It has that watermelon smell to it. The only thing is this is not going to help with pores, so we're going to go in with that Rare Beauty. Feels nice, has a nice slip to it. Has that watermelon scent, but it's not overwhelming. So this is what it's looking like on the skin. There's definitely a tack to it. It's not as sticky as like the Milk Hydro Grip, but there is sort of a moisturized tack feel. I wanna go in next with the Rare Beauty. This is the Pore Diffusing Primer. I picked up the mini size. This has a gel texture. It's kind of an interesting product. I really don't know if anything is going to beat my Tarte Timeless, but I'm going to put this just in the center here. It feels really nice. It has a slip to it, but I'll be curious if it really does help with pores. And then before I go in with foundation, I am going to use the Jaclyn Cosmetics Hydrating Under Eye Primer. I'm just trying to get a feel for it. It has a cooling tip on it. So far, have not really noticed much of a difference in terms of like how my concealer blends or looks. The cooling tip feels really nice. Like right now, I feel like if you're super puffy, you don't even have to put it in a fridge because it is very cooling. But in terms of, you know, my concealer blending better or looking less creasy or less dry, I'm not necessarily noticing that. So while I think this is nice and hydrating, my initial reaction from the few times that I've used it so far is that you really could use any gel, any moisturizer. I don't know if this is specifically needed, I guess. But like I said, I'm continuing to test it out. I don't have a new foundation today, but I am going to be mixing the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk in 5.75 with a little bit of my NARS in Stromboli. I just want to mix them to get a little bit of coverage from the NARS, but keep the glowy look from the Luminous Silk. To apply it, I'm going to use the Lunar Beauty Liquid and Powder Multi-Purpose Beauty Sponge. Now there's two different colors. This is beige, pointed edge. So this is dry straight out of the package. I think these are $10 too. Feels really nice and soft. So it has a slanted flat edge and then just the typical beauty blender, I guess, sort of feel. But I feel like there's so many brands now that not everybody's even like buying beauty blenders anymore. So I figured I would use this as well as the BK Beauty 101 brush. I've seen so many people rave about this. It has that slanted edge. So I thought we would use both. So I'm gonna go ahead and wet this real quick. I actually really like the color of the sponge. It has a cute little logo on the back, but it's more of a pink, I guess, like a fleshy pink. So I'm gonna go in with the flat side and start applying. This is a foundation combo that I enjoy. So I'm curious to see what I'll think about like the base, if that primer, or I guess the dewdrops and the Rare Beauty primer, if I notice smoothing or extra hydration. So far I'm liking the sponge. I don't really know what it reminds me of. It's not as porous as a beauty blender is. It's a little bit more smooth. I'm gonna go in now with the BK Beauty 101. I've heard so many people rave about this, specifically for foundation or cream products. It's not as stiff as I would have thought, but I actually like it. Like it almost has a give to it. It's sort of right in the middle. It's not one of those stiff ones that's going to move your product back and forth, but it's not too flimsy that it's not giving any coverage. I like the way that it feels. I'm actually quite impressed with both the sponge and the brush. The brush is really unique. I feel like this could be a go-to for me. I don't typically use brushes for my foundation most days. Typically I go for a sponge, but I really like the shape of this and I want to try the sponge out with concealer. Now I don't have a new concealer today, so I'm just going to go in with my Too Faced in Porcelain. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Lunar Beauty sponge. Now that I think about it, this sponge does remind me of the Hailey's Beauty sponge, which is one of my favorites, just in terms of the texture. It's not very porous, it's very soft, blending really nicely. The only difference is the Hailey's Beauty doesn't have a slanted edge, whereas this one does. So of course it's all personal preference. So to set the face, I have two powders that I want to use today. On one side, I want to use the Lorac Pro Loose Setting Powder in the shade Vanilla. This is brand new. They sent it to me in PR and I thought vanilla would be the right shade for me. So I want to see how this works. And then I also wanted to try the Brightening Banana Loose Powder from Jaclyn Cosmetics, but I want to use it lighter. I don't want to bake. I just want to set. When I used this in the first impressions, I used like 4 powders and it was just powder overload. So I really want to try it with just setting it. And I'm going to use the BK Beauty 108 brush. So I'm starting on this side with the Lorac powder. I have the shade Vanilla. And again, I'm not going to bake today. Feels very finely milled. It didn't brighten, but also didn't deepen. I'm also going to pull this down over my pore area. Definitely smoothing. It feels very finely milled. So I've set my under eye and T-zone on this side with the Lorac. So now I'm gonna go in and get the creases out and go in with that Brightening Banana from Jaclyn Cosmetics on this side. So I wipe my brush off. And I'm going to do the same thing. So this is interesting. It looks yellow in the pan, this Brightening Banana, like too dark for me. But when you put it on the face, it looks lighter. I wonder if you can see that. Oh, I got too much. Okay, that was my bad. So the Jaclyn powder comes out a lot easier in the cap, whereas the Lorac, I had to like really work to get it out. So I think I just got too much. So I went ahead and set both sides of my face and I do feel like it was really helpful for me because now I can compare the Jaclyn to other powders. So I feel like this side, which is the Lorac side, is smoother. You guys can let me know down below, but I feel like my skin just looks more airbrushed, whereas it looks more textured here with the Jaclyn. Second of all, the Lorac is not as pigmented as heavy coverage. So I think because Jaclyn Cosmetics is brightening, hers are very heavily pigmented and they really change the color of your foundation or whatever it may be. But the Lorac is more on the light translucent side, meaning that it's not going to drastically add coverage. The third thing I'm noticing is the Jaclyn does have a radiance, and I didn't notice this in my initial video because I literally used like 4 powders at a time and I couldn't compare. But when I look at my forehead, it looks matte over here, which is where I put the Lorac, and then right here I'm seeing radiance from the Jaclyn, which in turn is probably making my pores look larger. So keep that all in mind. This is why I keep trying products and testing them out. But so far, I'm really enjoying the Lorac over the Jaclyn Cosmetics. I didn't have a new bronzer, so I just used my Jouer Dark Powder, but I want to go in next to these little ColourPop quads. So these are the cheek palettes. You get 1 Super Shock in here and then 3 blushes. So this one is in Sugar Frosted. It's more of a neutral color story, like peachy, and then kind of like warm colors with a pinky highlight. And the one I think I'm going to use is called Extra Glazed. This one is just a little bit more on the pink side. The highlight is just a nice sort of champagne color. So I'm going to jump into these. I believe these were $10, which I think is a great price, to be honest. So for this, I'm going to use the BK Beauty 107. And I think I'm just going to first jump into this peachy shade. It looks like in each palette you get a satin blush and then 2 matte blushes and a Super Shock, or the 2 that they sent me. Wow, okay, they look pigmented. Let me tap some of that off here and start applying. So the highlight in here is a Super Shock, but the blushes are just powders. I'm just sort of building this up. It's a pretty shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this on the other side. And then I do wanna jump into the deep shade here just to add a little bit towards the back here. I like this. I mean, I feel like for the price too, I love blush, but these blushes are nice. And then I do want to go in with this Super Shock. I wonder what shade this is. Does it say here? It says Smoke and Whistles. I'm assuming that's new. So the Super Shock formula sometimes can be a little bit more difficult to pick up on a brush. Oh yeah, that's pretty. It's a little bit icy. It's sort of hard to match to this eyeliner we have going on. I'm gonna take a little bit on the Cupid's bow and then also on my nose. I'm actually gonna go into the Sugar Frosted palette and take a little bit of this pinky one. I wonder if it would kind of mesh in with the blush. And then I'm just gonna go over with the blush brush just to make sure I didn't bring that too low. So to finish off the look, I want to go in with this Huda Beauty. This is her new Lip Contour 2.0. I have the shade Terracotta. I have to say I used one of these the other day and they're just really, really creamy and slippy, which I don't love only because they remind me of the original ColourPop and I feel like I have a hard time controlling it. So I really have to have a steady hand, otherwise I just end up out of the lines. So as you can see, it's nice and pigmented. It's just very, very creamy, very much like the original ColourPop. So for lipstick, I want to try out this Too Faced Lip Injection Liquid Lipstick, Power Plumping Cream Liquid Lipstick. I have this shade here, Size Queen, which I think is like a light, ooh, it has a strong scent. A light pink. What does that smell? It almost smells like alcohol, like liquor. Almost like if you had a cocktail. Curious how this will plump. I like the feel of it. It is like a creamy kind of whipped. It's been about 2 minutes now. I'm feeling a slight tingle, but nothing unbearable, not as intense as the glosses, but I'll keep you updated as we keep going. But I want to go in with this Huda Beauty lipstick. This is the new cream lipstick in Empress. So they're definitely high shine and really kind of like moisturizing lipsticks, but they have pigment. So I thought I'd apply a little bit. The only thing I can see is that this could break off because it's so creamy. So just be very light-handed. So it feels nice on the lips. It's hard to tell because I have two products on, but I don't feel that it's really changing the color just because that Too Faced one is quite pigmented. But I'm liking the Too Faced one so far. I'm not like feeling burning or anything, and that was kind of my concern. So we'll have to see how this wears. All right, guys, here's my finished makeup look using all new products, and I want to go over my thoughts, starting off with the Deck of Scarlet Dual Drama Liquid Eyeliners. I feel like these are super easy to use. I love the applicator. I was able to get a precise wing. They don't budge. They're going to last all day, and I feel like they're just a fun way to add a pop to your makeup collection. So if you want to check these out, I do have a code and a link I will leave down below. I also really like the Glow Recipe Dew Drops. Now I will say I don't feel like I look overly glowy, but it didn't disrupt my foundation. Everything blended beautifully on top. I'd be curious to use this with more of like a tinted moisturizer to really see that glow come through. But so far I'm quite impressed with it. And I don't dislike the Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer. Now, of course, I need to try it with like my tried and true matte foundations. I feel like I look quite smooth on this side and a little bit more textured on this side, which could be that Jaclyn Cosmetics powder. But so far, I'm liking both these products. I'm gonna keep giving them a try and see what we think. As I mentioned before, the Hydrating Under Eye Primer, I just don't feel is anything special. It's nothing different from other eye creams or any kind of moisturizer you have that you could tap under your eye. I just don't feel like I'm noticing a difference, but again, I'll keep giving it a try. And I did mention before the differences in these powders. I really do like the Lorac one. I feel like it was nice and smoothing. It set everything really beautifully. So I'll be interested to keep trying that out. Just not super over the moon about the glowy properties in the Jaclyn one. I just feel like it did enhance my pores a little bit here. Again, I'm still testing out the Jaclyn Cosmetics to give my full review, but I don't believe it's going to become a holy grail for me. In terms of the ColourPop face palettes, I think they're really cute. I think the price is right. I like that the blushes are powder and not Super Shock, and I do like the highlight in here. I feel like it blended beautifully even though it is that Super Shock formula, so I think these are great for the price especially. Not super in love with the Huda Beauty lip liner, only because it does slip a little bit too much for my preference, but I will say that it lasts. So when I put it on my hand and then a couple minutes later went to rub it off, it was really on there. So it's probably going to be a long wear formula, which is not typical for the really creamy ones, but I like long wear lip liners. I just wish it was a little bit drier so I had more control when I was applying it. Also not mad at this Too Faced Lip Injection Liquid Lipstick. I like the formula. I'm not getting any weird lines, and I've had it on for maybe, I don't know, 45 minutes now, and it didn't do an intense tingle. So if you're afraid of that and you're like, whoa, I don't like the glosses, this didn't do that to me. So I'm not sure in terms of the plumping aspect. I felt a very mild tingle, but nothing like the glosses. And I do believe that I'm going to enjoy these lipsticks from Huda Beauty. These are the cream lipsticks. I think they're a great addition for spring and summer. The only thing that I could see being a problem is, like I said, they are very creamy to the point where I feel like they could snap or break off. These are definitely lipsticks that you want to store in a cool place, maybe even in your skincare fridge to make sure that they don't melt and break. In terms of the BK Beauty brushes, I only did get to use 3, but I really like this foundation brush, and I also really like this brush to set under the eye, which is the 108. So I'm interested to keep trying these. I have the full set, so I'll be using them in multiple videos to come. And I really like the Lunar Beauty sponge. It reminds me of the Hailey's Beauty. $10. I love the color on it. It's nice and soft and blended everything beautifully. So that is everything for this trying new makeup video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing new products in action. I will link everything down below. If you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.